You are now on the Real Go Getters channel, and today is August 21st. It is about 82 degrees. Nice cool day out here in comparison to what it usually normally is. Normally it's like 95, 98 degrees out here, so usually it's too hot for me to come out here and record. But today, I figured, since it's cool out here, come out here and get a scenic view. Lighting looks just right. But today what we're about to do is I'm about to knock out 3 reaction videos. And the first reaction video I'm going to start with is a gentleman who was incarcerated at the age of 15. What he's going to do is give us his do's and don'ts to being incarcerated, as well as being incarcerated at the age of 15. And like normal, we're going to react to this video like we always do. We're going to watch it together. I'm going to pause it and we can talk about it in the comments. So let's not waste no time. Let's get right into it. Before I start, as you know, this video is sponsored today by Connected, and this is that official Illuminati that we are right here.
Even at 15 years old, you were cool with just being in general population?
I wasn't going on PC, because like in that jail, like they charge not the jail, but dudes on the tier that run the tier. If they see that you weak, they're gonna charge you for being on the tier. They're gonna tell you like basically you gotta pay me to sleep up here, or we gonna do whatever we do to you. And they was the day I went in there, somebody got killed. Holly Bobo, rest in peace. Somebody got killed.
Ain't that some cold shit? He just said that the inmates is gonna charge another inmate rent to sleep on the tier. Now, what the fuck do a motherfucker look like being incarcerated, doing some time, paying another man to live on this tier in this penitentiary? Now, you're gonna be sending your people's money to a motherfucker on the tier that says that he runs the tier because you don't want to fight or kill this man. That's a cold game. Now, this man saying at 15 that he wasn't even worried about it, which kind of strikes me as odd, but let's hear him out a little more.
But I just had my mind made up before I came up the road. I locked into myself, looked in the mirror, was like, you're not going for nothing. Like, I'm not gonna disgrace my name or my family name. I gotta go. So if anybody stand in my way or act like they gonna, you feel me, I was gonna handle whatever I got handled.
What was your first night like?
My first night was,
obviously you said there was a murder there that happened.
My first night was actually trying to make a knife. Like, my first night was trying to find some steel around my cell.
That Illuminati ain't no joke, but I feel him. He made a pact with himself, he said, before he even got there, that he wasn't going to disgrace his name or his family's name, and he wasn't going for nothing. And for me, being a 20-year-old, 21, I turned 21 and then went to the pen, but I got locked up at 20. I had to make a pact to myself like that at one point. I don't know, I wasn't going for none of the bullshit. I wasn't going to let none of that shit slide. And ultimately, when you're incarcerated, it's always best to make a demonstration of the first person that tests you, so that the rest of the people that come afterwards that might think you weak or might try to prey on you, already got a demonstration of what you do. So basically, the name of the game is just to wreck the first motherfucker who try you. And he made a pact with himself, and I think that speaks highly that he didn't break a promise to himself, because this world nowadays, man, they'll break a promise to themselves real fast, real quick, and not think nothing else of it. But the promises that you make to yourself are the most valuable promises you could ever make. So, he said he didn't want to disgrace his name. A lot of people don't have no value to that in this day and age. Y'all need to take heed to that. A lot of people do anything and everything, and they just be switching names. Their names don't mean nothing. But it runs deep. Let's get back to it.
That I could break down and turn it into a knife. That was my whole focus my first night.
Now, how did you pass the time? You were studying your case, obviously.
Yeah, studying. Well, I didn't study my case in the beginning. I was young. When I had so much time that I didn't even care. I felt like, man, what the fuck? So I basically passed my time the same way you do in the streets. You sell drugs in there, rip and run, get cell phones, talking to everybody, rapping. We did a music room. And, the sports, they got sport leagues in there. Basically just and trying to turn COs, just whatever COs in there, I'm trying to turn them so they can bring me whatever I need.
Is that easy or hard to do, the turning the COs?
It used to be easy until people be.
Now, there's some real shit right here, because everybody don't jail the same when you're doing time. By no means, there'll be a saying in there. It'll be like we doing different type of time. Like just because we incarcerated, don't mean I'm doing the same exact time that you're doing because you could be doing a super hard time. You could be stressed out. You could be at the phone calling your people, calling your girl every 10 minutes. You know, ultimately the way that majority people pass time by being incarcerated is to play cards. They either playing cards or they're doing something that can basically get their mind off the reality because it's Groundhog's Day every day. So you got to think he talking about he got back to being like on the streets because in there there's a main street, you know what I mean, there's people ripping and running and got the most going, and they usually tell you why you first get incarcerated, stay out the mix. That's the mix right there. That little part right there is the mix, and it can make your time go by fast. Yeah. But you got your hands in all kinds of shit that could push you back even further. All it takes is for you to get bumped up or somebody you getting bumped up with. But flip COs, that was the name of the game, and that's huge in the joint. You got to figure, especially at the private prisons, because these is the only people you got coming from the street. A lot of people ain't got no family. A lot of people ain't got nobody out there. And ultimately, the whole name of the game is to manipulate and, flip on these COs. Do they actually flip them or were they already corrupt when they came through the door? More likely it was already corrupt before they came through the door and they just got turned on to some shit. But, ultimately, that is a huge hustle in the pen. It's just sitting around trying to knock COs. It ain't the CO, it's the nurse or it's the lunch lady or that's the name of the game. And it's so cold that a lot of prisons, at least out in Colorado, they had banned the 48 laws of power based on the pretenses. And I think even any Robert Greene book, just based on the pretenses that it taught manipulation and it taught power techniques. But let's hear the rest of what he got to say.
It used to be easy until people be telling now, so the COs don't even trust you. Like so many guys get caught and they tell on everybody. They tell about the whole operation. So it's actually hard now. It was at a point they'd come to you. They'd see because when you went there, you got with state issue clothes. I didn't do that. Like I had polo, still had Jordan. So when they see you like that, they basically either somebody sending them money or he ain't making money. So I'm about to get with him, see if I can make some money.
Now,
see, that must be out in the East Coast or the South or somewhere. You got Jordan and polo. They ain't had nothing like that. Wow, it's all fully greens, but once again, everybody didn't have the same greens. Some people, had creases in their shit. Some shit was fresh. Some people just look dingy. Some people always have fresh white tees and sweats. But he said everybody's gonna tell him that usually they don't want to do that. But maybe it's different out there. I guess it must be if it's so easy for everybody to tell and get away with it. Colorado was a little different, and like you said though, the best way usually is just to let them come to you. I think your persona in there kind of put out, the signal for you out there. Ultimately, you living in a world where this cop is monitoring you and everybody else, and they're peeping how you move and so forth, so forth. So a lot of times that's usually just how a CO gets flipped is organically. They gravitate to you. You already moving like that. They hear about the opportunity and they get to work with it. But for me, Colorado, it was the private prisons that was the most corrupt, that had the most things going on because it's these little small towns that ain't got shit else going on in there. If they can get in there and they can make money like that, man, that's the best thing ever to them. But once again, they're not long-minded. They don't see the issue about when they do get cracked because it ruins their life. It ruins one of those COs' life, when they get cracked because they definitely never get another job like that, and that's a felony on your record and some more. But cold game, man.
What about inmates having sex with female COs?
Oh yeah, that's
is that easy or hard to do?
It's hard, but it's easy depending on who you are. Ain't nobody just going, cause you might have some money and go to a CO look, man, I got $200, I'm trying to fuck, and she call a code on your ass to get you locked up. But it's just about how you carry yourself. The same way they attract to you on the street, they're gonna attract to you, and it's just about how you carry yourself.
What are some do's and don'ts for somebody first time going in? Any advice?
First thing
Now that's what I was just telling y'all right there. You know, same thing when it comes to like moving to work or any of that shit right there. You know, if you trying to just get it like that, yeah, let him come to you. It's hard, but it's not. It all depends on who he is. And you know, ultimately, this is a world amongst the world inside this penitentiary. You gotta think like everything that this world out here got, that world got. You know, it's a, you know, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we all going to the same kitchen. You know what I mean? We all sitting down at the same tables. You know, the library, we all going to the same library. The gym, we all going to the same gym. Everybody, this is like a world, but except you got this right here. You got a wall, a concrete divider. But to keep it moving.
They have to be real with themselves. They have to be real with themselves. If they know they can't handle that pressure, don't act like they can handle the pressure. They gotta be, and I'm talking about, they don't even need to talk to nobody. They need to talk about it with themselves. They gotta make, because if you know you can't handle it, man, you might want to check in. You might want to go on PC. You might want to go on admin, or you might want to play crazy, so you go to the crazy jail. Because if you can't handle it, and you think you can handle it, but you know you can't, you walk in there try, you might get turned to a punk. You might get turned to a fat.
He's right on all accounts right there. You know, at the end of the day, you need to be real with yourself in a situation like that, especially when you're going to a places like the killing fields. You know what I mean? Like, you know, these are the high, tense environments daily. Like every day is tense. Like think about it when there's racial issues on the yard. Like, man, you can feel the thickness in the air. You know, you can feel it about ready to kick off. It's like 4th of July and you the whip. It's been lit. And, you know, it's crazy because you got to know yourself in these situations because you surely going to be tested and you're going to be tested over and over again. And that's what the free world out here going to realize, like life, that's the epitome of life. Life is going to continuously test you over and over and over again. And it's going to test you to find out what you made of. It's doing the acid test to you to find out what's really in your core. And a lot of us, motherfucking ain't built like that. So you got to be real with yourself in a situation like that. He said check in, you know what I mean? Shit, if you can do that, shit, do it. Because, I mean, shit, that's what a motherfucker probably need to do. Shit. But if that ain't you, that ain't your move either. So you shouldn't be moving like that. But checking in is basically just going to the police and saying, hey, I can't go here for whatever reasons. And from that reason, they ain't going to put you in regular population. So, you know, rule number 1, yeah, know thyself, right?
A punk. You might get turned to a faggy. You might get turned into a smackhead, heroin. They use guys for anything. Because if I'm an older guy and I've been in jail for 40 years and all my peoples might be dead on the streets, but I need money to feed this habit. So if I see a young dude coming in and his parents sending him money, I'm going to get him hooked on this drug so we can get high together.
Oh,
you feel?
I see.
So if you not...
Very smart.
Yeah,
I never thought about that.
If you not really about that, you got to be real with yourself because some people be like, oh, he a sucker. Oh, he a sucker. He going to pee.
That's a cold game. That's a cold racket, ain't it? That's how a lot of motherfuckers be moving, dog. They be moving with manipulation and they be peeping. They looking for any opening, any weakness, and that's a weakness, so they're going to exploit that weakness. And, you know, not to get too far off subject, but, you know, he said when you come in there, if you don't know thyself and you try to act like you do when you don't, that you might get turned into a punk, a smackhead, thus forth. But basically, what a punk is in the penitentiary is a homosexual. And you know, my experience with being incarcerated is a lot of these people that be turned out in there was already turned on to some shit back in the free world, real world, and this shit just brought it out of them because, you know, once again, that's another world by itself in there. It's just a world now imposed into this world, and it's just constantly, you know, you dealing with men, so you're dealing with that alpha male syndrome, ego, and all that shit that go with it. But, you know, he said he's gonna get turned to a punk. I don't know how they doing if they that raw there, but I didn't experience it in Colorado. I think, you know, everybody fall into their own little section, their own little place. If he was weak, if he was, you know, the bottom tier type of person, you know, you got a special place. But let's hear him out.
He a sucker. Oh, he a sucker. He going PC. But that dude want to live. You feel me? So if you're not about that, you better check in.
Now, any other do's and don'ts?
Oh, other than that, man, just be yourself. The main thing is you be yourself, because man respect man ultimately. If you be yourself, ain't nobody going, you feel some.
So once again, he just said, if you want to live, your best bet is to check in. Now, that's real shit because these penitentiaries, these be the worst of the worst. You know, this is life or death situations. You living under life or death pretenses daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And so, you know, to anybody that hear this video, especially you young men, like if you really ain't about that shit, you know, the shit you out here doing in these streets is gonna set you up for a future of life like that, where you sitting in front of these motherfuckers that ain't got nothing to lose. They've already lost it all. They might have lost it all times 4 or 5 times because the way they be giving time out is they gonna give you 100 years, they gonna give you another 100 years, and then they gonna give you another 100 years, and they gonna tell you that in 300 years you supposed to finish these all out because these are the debt that you owe for these crimes right here. So you know, hopefully your spirit and your soul don't come back in the next lifetime and the lifetime after that having to do even more time behind all these type of crimes. And young boys, listen up and hear that shit because y'all be putting yourself in that situation. But let's hear them out.
Still could happen, but if you be yourself, your chances are very high. If you're a basketball player, if you're a funny dude, if you know how to cut hair, like if you be yourself, you can get through.
Can one survive in prison without joining a gang?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, like you definitely can, and that's about being yourself. Cause like they came at me all the time. Oh yeah, whatever. But I didn't have them anxieties. I didn't have them love anxieties or them family anxieties or, you know, them wanting to be a part of some anxieties. So I was cool. Like, and I had it made in my man. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. Ain't nobody sitting on no high chair gonna be like, look, go stab him. Like, nigga, you go stab him. Fuck. So yeah, you could do it. But like I said, if you not about that, you might need to join the gang for the protection, but you're gonna be a flunky. But is it better to be a flunky than to be somebody's, you know? So I don't.
It's levels.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the way you moving is gonna position you where you at in there. You know what I mean? Same thing like in the streets. It's gonna position you to where you're supposed to be at. And ultimately, if you ain't about that, you shouldn't pretend you're about that because now you don't need to be about that on a regular basis. But you know, I think real recognize real, right? So basically, at the end of the day, you know, you move a certain kind of way, it's gonna put you in a certain kind of position. But you know, if you ain't about that, that's probably your best bet. Shit.
It's definitely, it's just that's why the person got to be real with themselves, cause man, you put yourself in that environment. Whatever you did on the streets, some people be in there actually innocent, but they was living. Some people was innocent, still living their life though. If somebody totally innocent just was framed like on some movie shit, then that's fucked up.
Right.
But if you in that type of environment and you get caught up and get sent to prison, man, you gotta be ready for that work.
Did you have to fight in prison?
Me personally, I chose not to fight because knives are gonna come out. If I whoop somebody, him and his mans might try to stab me, so I'm the type of person, I'm going to do the end result in the beginning. So if I get into it with a person, if I'm right there and we gotta fight, cool, but if you give me a chance to slide off, if I don't got a knife on me, you give me a chance to slide off and coming back with a knife, or I'm 9 times out of 10 I have my knife on me, and if we get into it, I'm gonna air you out.
So 13 years, you didn't have to fight once?
No, I ain't had.
That sounds impossible.
Nah, it's not. It's cool. It's laid back. It's laid back, especially when they know you swing that blade. It ain't gonna really be no fighting. Whatever situation you get in.
He said it's cool. She be tripping. I don't know how you did 13 years like that. I don't know. Like I told y'all in the story before, man. First time I hit the compound, man, I got jumped coming out the shower. I knew it was on since then. You know what I mean? Anything I was taking lightly, I knew it was on from there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. He said it's cool. I guess I see where you're going with it. Like, you know, you was popular. You know, motherfucker knew everybody, and motherfucker showed respect and shit. I can get it. A lot of people move like that, but you know, ultimately, with that many men in one place, it's hard to always get along and have everybody agree. And I know conversation rule the nation, right? Like, if you can communicate it, you know, you can usually walk away from it because most of the shit usually is over some bullshit, right? But man, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes the emotions be fast and quick, and sometimes before you know, you didn't punch the motherfucker or some shit. But 13 years you did, I guess that's respectable, man. Commitment.
It's about pushing a knife. Now, people that fight, you got a lot of people that do fight in it, but they like, you know, they different caliber people. I'm not gonna fight you. I'm gonna stab you. So you either gonna know that I'm not planning on trying to take your life, or this situation ain't even big enough for us to get into it.
That'd be a dilemma of going in like that because, you know, you might go in with a 2 year or a 3 year or some kind of short sentence, and you go in there and you gotta stick, poke, kill one of these motherfuckers, and then now you got a life sentence. You ain't never getting out. You stranded. You stuck. But ultimately, this is what you sign up for. This is ultimately by doing anything outside the box of the law. This is what you signing up for, and you signing up for like a subscription at Netflix. You know, you're gonna get it for 6 months, or you're gonna get it for the 5 years, or you're gonna get it for 20 years. See what I'm saying?
So you were maybe trying to diffuse a situation before it got to that level?
Oh yeah, definitely. If I could, like, if men and mine could talk about it and really, because communication is everything. A lot of situations be over some bullshit, or it be miscommunication. So communication is everything. If we could, talk it out, or his men come talk to me. And also, I'm a popular individual. I've always been popular my whole life. So when I came to jail, people already knew who I was. And
I see.
And mind you, I was on the news. So I wasn't just a person you could run up on or whatever. People got to talk to people to, they got politic about it.
I see.
So my situation was a little different than the average person coming in there.
But at the same time, even though you are popular and you've been on the news, somebody in there might look at it like, that's a person I want to try, just to see if he adds up to the hype that he is.
And that's why I'm going to push that knife in him, just so they can know either you going to fuck with me, we're going to take this to the grave, or you ain't going to, it's not big enough for one of us to lose our life over it.
Once again, you're right, though, because that's how it really play out, though, at the end of the day, right there, You come in there with that bravado, just like in the world. You come with that bravado, man. Somebody want to test that. Somebody want to see, is that for real? Like you said, he's gonna make that demonstration. Number one, he's gonna put that knife in him, and that's what he's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to kill somebody because in those pretenses, that's what that is right there. That's your life for his life. But those ain't just play fights. You gotta take that into consideration.
Now, what about rape? Do people get raped in prison nowadays, or is that
it's different now? It's the finesse game now. Because you still got them old freaks that was raping people in the 60s and 70s, but you had different organizations that basically wiped that shit out. So now it's the finesse game. It's the see somebody that's weak, you talk to them, talk them in the head, get them to move, and I got a game in the cell, or I got all the food, you don't never got to worry about it. They get you moved in the cell. They might give you some drink. They make jailhouse wine.
Right.
So they burn the alcohol and make real wine, and basically moonshine. And they might put a muscle relaxer in there. And you curtains, that's why, one thing that still stands, don't take nothing from nobody when they offer you that shit. Don't take it.
So people do get raped.
Yeah, it's just different.
It's a different way of getting raped.
It's just not the brutal knock you out, grab you, choke you up. Now you still got two individuals.
See, in Colorado, they got this thing where they say don't take the honey bun that's underneath your pillow, because you come in there, say you come from the gym working out, you come from the shower, whatever, you come in there, you sit down on your bunk and there's a honey bun under your pillow. You eat that honey bun right there, you in debt to somebody, and what you think that dude that left that honey bun wanted? He wants your honey buns. That's the motherfucking coldest kicker right there. You want your honey buns. So, at the end of the day, I guess it's like preying on the weak, because that's what majority of people in there be on, some like rapist mentality. They preying on the weak. And, some prey on the bigger, some prey on the smaller. That shit right there, though, motherfucking, like I said before, usually from my experience in there, anybody that was on that type of time, they was turned out on the streets already. That big brutal, beat you up and take it type of shit. I've never seen it, experienced it in there. I heard stories of, years and generations before, but man, they put a penalty and tax on that where you can't never come out the cell, and these people are like, mythology in the penitentiary of motherfuckers that done heinous rape and shit like that. But normally it's just on some gay on gay shit in my experience.
There's notorious in the system that still do that. I'm not gonna say the whole system, just the systems I went through. You got two individuals that's still about that, choke you out and take you.
Wow.
And you can stab them. They like that. They lick it. They like it.
Oh my gosh.
You got go in for the kid.
I've done.
Yeah, see, that's what I was just saying right there. It's a different age and different time. you know, the game is to run the game, and that's what a lot of people be doing. But it's definitely possible. You know, I would never put it past nobody if they have some more weird tendencies. And I heard more stories of people getting knocked out in there and pissed on, or having something done to them while they're unconscious, than I heard about, you know, once again, being a man coming in there and just taking it like that. But let's keep it moving.
Done interviews, other prison interviews, and I've heard that, you know, rape doesn't even, well, some prisons, they've told me that rape doesn't even happen because there's already gay prisoners there, there's already transsexual prisoners.
You would think that,
so like, if you want it, you could get it.
But that's the same way on the streets. You got people that give away pussy for free for a cigarette, and they still rape people. But like, the homosexual actions is not that big that people think. It's not that big. Like, it's a small percent of people that indulge in it. It's not like, it took me, I didn't see it like one of them tranny type, you know, a female type gay person. I don't know what to call them because I don't want to, like, you know, disrespect them. But
like a guy trying to play a female.
Yeah, I ain't see one of them probably till I was on like the 8th year of my bit. Like, till I went into a different area where these different jails was at, and I started seeing them like, oh shit, this. Like, that shit fucked my head up.
Yeah, he ain't lying. That shit fuck your head up. Colorado a little different because Colorado, they got them everywhere. First time I experienced them was when I got to Cell House 5 at Territorial. And this is the one I was telling y'all about in the other video that was the older penitentiary, like from the 1800s. You know, they've been, turn of the century, they've been locking people up, and they got these 3 tiers on each side, and they metal, and they open door. Y'all can see them out there. It's called Territorial Cell House 5. When I first get there, I finally get locked behind the bars. The bars closed behind me. You know, like some shit right out of a movie. And ultimately, you know, I start hearing females, like, and I'm, you know, I'm looking. I get up, look at the bars. Man, here come a motherfucker in the tightest greens. And that's what they got in Colorado. Greens like this. They got the tightest greens on. They got their hair pulled back. They got walking with a switch all night. All night is a punk. You know, that's what they call them. They're a punk. That's what it is the whole time. Man, that wasn't the last time I seen them, but you know, they right there. You know, that's why I said a lot of times that you know, the coldest should be when you in there and that you be cool with a cat and you find out your partner be messing with the punks. That's the coldest. Man, I don't even know how to explain it to you. And that done happened to me so many times. Then you find out the homie be fucking with these he-she's. Like, man, fuck. I get it, because motherfuckers be in there and they just want to bust a nut. But, man, they lower they stuff down there. And I don't know, some people be on some shit, and I'm laughing at it, but, you know, they be gay for the state. They be gay while they in there, and then they get out here, and they get right back to the females. And it used to always fuck me up when I be in there and I see motherfuckers like that, because they be having a wife, kids. They could be one that dresses up, switches the all nine. Got a wife and kids. Come up here, visit the all nine. Like, damn. I don't know, that shit be crazy, but yeah, you know, penitentiary. What a motherfucking place to land. But overall, I say, man, he was on point for the majority of this video. And I figure we go over it just to touch on some topics and shit. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Man, make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe so y'all get those notifications and all that when the new videos drop. And let's keep moving.